From the PEP Radio Newsroom, we have this update about President Trump's address to the nation. President Donald Trump's glowing account of progress under his watch Wednesday was out of tune with the experience of price-squeezed Americans and the story told by some of his government's own statistics. In a speech from the White House, Trump assailed the record of his Democratic predecessor and boasted expansively about his record so far. Not all of those boasts were credible. Among them, Trump, he blamed Democrats for handing him an inflation disaster, the worst in the history of our country, and said that now the price of turkey and eggs has come down and everything else is falling rapidly and it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress. Well, that's where the facts come into play. His claim that prices are falling rapidly is not seen in the inflation numbers, which are about where they were when he took office, after having fallen significantly before the end of Joe Biden's presidency. Nor is it true that the Biden era gave the country the worst inflation ever. The Consumer Price Index was 3% in September, the same rate as in January, a tick up from the 2.9% in December, Biden's last full month in office. Well, in the AP NORC poll this month, the vast majority of U.S. adults said they've noticed higher than usual prices for groceries, electricity, and holiday gifts in recent months. Now, Biden-era inflation at 9.1% in June 2022, well, that was a consequence of supply chain interruptions, potentially excessive amounts of government aid, and Russia's invasion of Ukraine, driving up food and energy costs. Americans have known even worse and more sustained inflation than that, higher than 13% in 1980 during an extended period of price pain, and by some estimates, inflation approached 20% during World War I. Inflation had been falling during the first few months of Trump's presidency, but it picked it back up after he announced his tariffs in April. Trump, I secured record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States. Well, the facts presented no evidence that he secured this much domestic or foreign investments in the United States. Based on statements from various companies, foreign countries, and the White House's own website, the figures appear to be exaggerated, highly speculative, and far from the actual sum. Even the White House website offers a far lower number at $9.6 trillion, and that figure appears to include some investment commitments made during Biden's presidency. We'll have more in part 2 of this story. We'll be back in a moment.